This is Locked On's College Football Top 100 Players, as voted on by the local hosts of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Podcast Network College Football Top 100 Players. I'm Peter Bukowski, host of Locked On Sports Today, and over the next hour, we'll count down the 100 best players in college football entering the 2026 season. Before we jump into all the action, a quick reminder, this episode brought to you by FanDuel. Join all the action at FanDuel.com to play daily dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer this Major League Baseball season. Our Locked On College Football hosts cast their vote. We added them up, and now comes the fun part, finding out which fan bases think we nailed it and which ones are already furious their quarterback is 20 spots too low. From Heisman contenders and future first-round picks to breakout stars you'll want to know before September, this is the Locked On College Football Top 100. At number one, maybe no surprise, Ohio State superstar receiver Jeremiah Smith. He enters 2026 as college football's biggest matchup nightmare after piling up over 1,200 receiving yards and 12 touchdowns last season. With freaky size, speed, and ball skills, the Ohio State superstar already looks like not just one of the crown jewels of the 2027 draft, but one of the greatest wideout prospects since Calvin Johnson. At number two, Colin Simmons, the Texas pass rusher. Few pass rushers in college football can wreck a game quite like Simmons, whose burst and bend off the edge have made him the centerpiece of the Texas defense. Already viewed as a potential top 10 pick in 2027, Simmons enters his junior year as one of the nation's most feared quarterback hunters. Number three, Notre Dame shutdown corner Leonard Moore, who blossomed for Notre Dame in 2025, grabbing 5 interceptions while allowing a passer rating of just 45.9 when targeted. After finishing as a Jim Thorpe Award finalist, Moore enters his junior season with a chance to become the first corner off the board in the 2027 NFL Draft. At number four, Dante Moore, Oregon's star quarterback. His first season running Oregon's offense was a breakout, completing nearly 72% of his passes for over 3,500 yards and 30 touchdowns while leading the Ducks to the college football playoff semifinals. Now armed with a full season of experience, Moore enters the 2026 season as a Heisman contender and potential number one pick in the 2027 draft. Number five, Malachi Toney, Miami's dynamic receiver. What Toney accomplished as a true freshman was truly ridiculous. 109 catches for 1,211 yards while accounting for 13 touchdowns, 10 receiving, 1 rushing, and 2 passing during Miami's run to the national championship game. Whether catching passes, running the ball, or returning punts, or even throwing it, Toney enters year two as one of college football's most creative offensive weapons. At number six, Trinidad Chambliss, the quarterback from Ole Miss, went from Division II Ferris State to one of college football's biggest breakout stars, throwing for almost 4,000 yards with 22 touchdowns and just 3 interceptions in 2025. He also added over 500 yards and 8 scores on the ground, finishing 8th in the Heisman voting after leading Ole Miss on a memorable playoff run. At number 7, another Texas Longhorn, this time receiver Cam Coleman. After 2 productive seasons at Auburn, Coleman brings his massive catch radius and red zone prowess to Texas, where he'll team up with Arch Manning. The 6'3" receiver has already produced over 1,300 yards and 13 touchdowns in his collegiate career, and a breakout year in Steve Sarkisian's offense could send his draft stock soaring. At number 8, Kwan Lacey from Ole Miss. A touchdown machine in 2025. He rushed for almost 1,600 yards and an Ole Miss record 24 touchdowns during that Rebels college football playoff run. After that sophomore season, he's back as one of the nation's premier running backs. And I mentioned him, Arch Manning. He checks in at number 9 on our list, the Texas quarterback, with enormous expectations that he wasn't always able to carry. Wasn't always easy to carry for Manning's first year as the Texas starter, but he helped guide the Longhorns to 10 wins and finished the regular season with 24 passing touchdowns and another 8 on the ground. After finishing 2025 on the upswing, Manning gets another shot at turning all that famous potential into a championship season.
there will not be 8 players in college football who are better than Arch Manning in 2026. Therefore, he is underranked. What's up, guys and gals? BK, Brad Kellner with Locked On Longhorns here. Arch Manning ended the 2025 season on an absolute heater. 21 touchdowns to just 2 turnovers in the final 8 games of the season, leading the Longhorns to a 7-1 record down the stretch. This offseason, Texas went out and added Cam Coleman, Raleek Brown, Hollywood Smothers. They upgraded the offensive line, and Arch Manning, going into his second year as the starter, now has the experience, and he's gone through it. He knows what it takes to be successful, and I think he's poised for a tremendous 2026 season. For more Longhorns conversation, check out Locked On Longhorns, your team every day.
Number 10, Dylan Stewart, the South Carolina monster at 6'5", 250 pounds, with the kind of first step quickness that offensive tackles hate dealing with. He recorded 4.5 sacks and forced 3 fumbles in 2025 and enters his junior season with 11 career sacks and legitimate top 10 NFL draft potential. Number 11, Indiana offensive tackle Carter Smith. He was the anchor up front during Indiana's historic 2025 season, starting all 16 games at left tackle and becoming the first Hoosier ever to win Big Ten Offensive Lineman of the Year. With 41 consecutive starts under his belt, Smith enters 2026 as one of the most experienced and dependable tackles in all of college football. Speaking of offensive tackles, Trevor Gooseby from Texas lands at number 12 with athleticism and experience playing both tackle spots. It's made him a key piece of the Longhorns' offensive line. He suffered a bone bruise in his left knee during fall camp, but was given a recovery timeline of roughly 2 to 3 weeks, making his availability an early season storyline as Texas prepares to protect Arch Manning. At 13, quarterback from Ohio State, Julian Sayin. He was remarkably efficient in his first season as Ohio State starter, leading the nation with a 77% completion rate while throwing for over 3,600 yards and 32 touchdowns. A Heisman finalist as a redshirt freshman, Sayin now gets another season throwing to the number 1 player on this list. At number 14, Ahmad Hardy, the running back from Missouri, who exploded onto the SEC scene with a school record 1,649 rushing yards and 16 touchdowns, earning consensus All-American honors after transferring from Louisiana Monroe. After being wounded in a shooting this offseason, Hardy has been medically cleared to resume football activities, although his return to play timetable is uncertain entering 2026.
Despite being shot in the leg this offseason, Ahmad Hardy's still a top 15 player in the Locked On 100. I'm John Miller with Locked On Mizzou. And if anything, I think Ahmad Hardy is underrated here. The NFL has tended to devalue running backs. I think college football fans are now too. With Ahmad Hardy only the 14th best player in all of college football, the young man had 1,186 yards after contact last season. The guy is a broken tackle machine, and to me, the best running back in college football. For more, check out Locked On Mizzou, your team every day.
At number 15, C.J. Carr, the quarterback from Notre Dame, who quickly looked the part as Notre Dame's starter, throwing for over 2,700 yards and 24 touchdowns as a freshman. With another year in the system, he's one of the young quarterbacks capable of making a major leap in 2026. At 16, Jordan Seaton, the massive offensive tackle from LSU, one of the biggest prizes in the transfer portal. Seaton arrives at LSU after earning second-team All-Big 12 honors at Colorado. The former 5-star recruit has started 22 career games at left tackle and gives the Tigers an instant anchor up front. Number 17, David Stone, the defensive lineman from Oklahoma. With his combination of twitch, power, and disruptive ability at 315 pounds, Stone is one of the most intriguing interior defenders in the country. After posting 8 tackles for loss in 2025, the former 5-star enters his junior season with legitimate first-round and potentially top 10 NFL upside. At 18, A.J. Holmes Jr., the defensive lineman from Texas Tech. Holmes brings size, power, and disruption to the middle of a Texas Tech defense with big expectations in 2026. His ability to collapse the pocket from the interior makes him one of the Big 12's toughest matchups up front. At 19, Georgia safety K.J. Bolden, who's quickly grown into a leader of Georgia's secondary, totaling 76 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 5 PBUs as a sophomore. His combination of coverage versatility, physicality, and experience gives Kirby Smart another NFL caliber chess piece on the back end. Rounding out our top 20, Jalen McClain, the safety from Ohio State. McClain stepped into a much bigger role than 2025 and responded with 53 tackles while helping anchor another stingy Buckeyes defense. The former 4-star recruit now enters 2026 as one of the veteran pieces in a retooled Ohio State secondary. At 21, DJ Vanami from Iowa, the tight end. They just keep churning him out with the Hawkeyes, don't they? Vanami emerged from relative obscurity to lead Iowa with 434 receiving yards and earned freshman All-American honors in 2025. He saved his best for last, exploding for 146 yards and a touchdown against Vanderbilt in the ReliaQuest Bowl. At 22, Will Eccles from Ole Miss. The defensive lineman broke out with 11.5 tackles for loss and earned first-team All-SEC honors in 2025. At 315 pounds, he's a disruptive interior presence at the heart of the Rebels' defense. Number 23 is Florida running back Jaden Baugh. The 225-pound Baugh rushed for almost 1,200 yards in 2025, capped by a monster 266-yard performance against rival Florida State. With surprising speed to go with his bruising style, he's one of the SEC's most complete backs. At 24, Darian Mensah, the quarterback from Miami, great name for a quarterback. After throwing for more than 3,900 yards at Duke, Mensah now takes over a Miami offense coming off a run to the national championship game. His arm talent and accuracy give the Hurricanes another potential star at quarterback.
Miami Hurricanes quarterback Darian Mensah has just been ranked number 24 in the Locked On Podcast Network Top 100 Players list. That is way too low. I am Alex Dono, host of Locked On Canes. How Darian Mensah is this underrated needs to be studied. Number 24. Darian Mensah, you realize, is currently third in Heisman Trophy odds, and yet he's ranked number 24. Mensah last season at Duke was the top passer in Power 4 football with just under 4,000 yards. Mensah had one of the most stellar touchdown to interception ratios I've seen in a long time at 34 TDs to 6 INTs. He's one of the top quarterbacks in the country, criminally underrated at number 24 on this list. For more on the Miami Hurricanes, check out Locked On Canes, your team every day.
Baseball fans, if you think you know who's hitting a homer today, FanDuel is giving you a free chance to call your shot with Daily Dingers. It's easy to play. Just make your free pick for who you think will hit a home run in their game. If you're right, you'll receive a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the Major League Baseball season. Daily Dingers is another fun way to stay engaged with every day's games, whether you're following your favorite team or keeping an eye on matchups across the league. Every game has someone capable of going deep. Now you get the chance to make your prediction before first pitch. There are certain players where every at-bat feels like something big could happen. That's what makes Daily Dingers fun. You get to back the player you think is ready to go deep that day. So are you ready to play your game today? Join all the action at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play Daily Dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of Major League Baseball. A quarter of the way through our top 100, it's number 25, Damian Sanford, the linebacker from Texas. Sanford took a major step forward in 2025, posting 57 tackles, 9.5 TFLs, and 3.5 sacks while adding interception and 2 forced fumbles. After spending the offseason rehabbing a spring fibula injury, the senior captain remains a centerpiece of the Aggies defense as he works toward an early season return. Number 26 is cornerback from Georgia, Ellis Robinson IV. Robinson turned a huge redshirt freshman breakout into FWAA Freshman Defensive Player of the Year honors, picking off 4 passes and emerging as Georgia's next shutdown corner. The former 5-star recruit now enters 2026 with first-round NFL draft buzz and a chance to become the latest star defensive back produced by Kirby Smart. At 27, John Henry Daly, the edge from Michigan. He arrived at Michigan after an All-American season at Utah, was cut short by a torn Achilles. Now healthy, the powerful pass rusher gives the Wolverines a proven difference maker on the edge. At 28, Xavier Atkins, the linebacker from Auburn. Atkins was everywhere in his first season at Auburn, leading the SEC with 17 tackles for loss while adding 9 sacks and earning All-America honors. Whether he's attacking downhill or hunting quarterbacks, Atkins has developed into one of the most disruptive linebackers in college football. At 29, the Notre Dame linebacker Kingston Viliamu-Asa. Viliamu-Asa broke out as a sophomore, 48 tackles, 7.5 TFLs, and 3 sacks. The former 5-star recruit now steps into 2026 as one of the leaders of another talented Notre Dame defense. At 30, another tight end on the list, Trey'Dez Green from LSU. At 6'7", Green is a matchup problem who brings a massive catch radius to LSU's passing game. The former 5-star has the physical tools to become one of college football's biggest breakout tight ends in 2026. At 31, Missouri offensive tackle Caden Green. He made a seamless move to left tackle in 2025, earning first-team All-SEC honors from the AP while allowing just 2 sacks. At 6'5", 324 pounds, the veteran gives Missouri a proven anchor protecting the edge. At 32, Clev Lubin, the edge from Louisville. Lubin broke out for 8.5 sacks and 13.5 TFLs in his first season with the Cardinals. The former Coastal Carolina transfer enters 2026 as a preseason All-American and one of the ACC's top pass rushers. At 33, Rasheem Biles, the linebacker from Texas. Biles was a playmaking machine at Pitt, piling up 101 tackles, 17 TFLs, and 2 pick sixes before transferring to UT. He now brings that versatility and physicality to a loaded Longhorns defense. I don't know if you've noticed, we've said the name Texas and defense a bunch already. At 34, Evan Tengestal, the offensive lineman from Cincinnati. Tengestal emerged as one of Cincinnati's best blockers in 2025, earning AP second-team midseason All-America recognition. The 325-pound veteran returns as the centerpiece of the Bearcats' offensive line. At 35, Iowa center Cade Piper. Piper earned first-team All-American honors from Pro Football Focus while helping Iowa win the Joe Moore Award as the nation's top offensive line. Now moving to center, he's one of the most intriguing interior linemen in college football. At 36, defensive back from Oregon, Brandon Finney Jr. Finney was one of college football's best true freshmen in 2025, leading Oregon with 3 interceptions and 8 pass breakups while earning freshman All-America honors. After allowing receptions on just 40% of his targets, he enters 2026 as a preseason first-team All-American. LJ Martin, the running back from BYU, is the 37th player on our list. Martin earned Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year honors after rushing for over 1,300 yards and 12 touchdowns in 2025. The powerful senior returns as the centerpiece of BYU's offense. Xavier Brown, the corner from Alabama, is 38 on our list. Brown took 2 interceptions to the house in 2025, becoming Alabama's first true corner with multiple pick sixes in a season since Antonio Langham in 1992. Now entering year 3, he's already generating first-round NFL draft buzz. At 39, his teammate, Bray Hubbard, the safety at Alabama, the former high school quarterback, has developed in one of the nation's best safeties with 7 interceptions over the last 2 seasons. Hubbard's instincts and versatility make him the veteran centerpiece of Alabama's secondary. At 40, Mateo Uwagalele, the edge from Oregon. Uwagalele generated 52 pressures in 2025, second most in the Big Ten, while helping Oregon reach the college football semifinal. At 6'5", with the versatility to rush from multiple alignments, he's the headliner of another loaded Ducks defense.
Mateo Uiagalelei, coming in at number 40 on Locked On's Top 100, is an underrated spot, but that's exactly where he should be. I'm Spencer McLaughlin of the Locked On Ducks podcast. Look, I know it sounds like I'm talking out both sides of my mouth here, but he has the potential to be a top 10, 15 player regardless of position in all of college football. The fact of the matter is, though, his sack production last year was not as good as it should have been. I had expectations of him pushing for the Oregon single-season sack record in 2025. Instead, he had 4 fewer total sacks than he had in his 2024 campaign when he led the Big Ten in sacks as a true sophomore. He has to be better this year if Oregon's defense is going to play at a national championship level. So if he levels up, then he'll be a top 10, 15 player. Otherwise, 40 is where he should be, even though it's underrating his total value. For more on Mateo and the rest of the Oregon Ducks, check out Locked On Ducks on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. It's your team every day.
At 41, Ahmad Moten Sr., the defensive lineman from Miami. He gives Miami a veteran interior disruptor with the strength to clog running lanes and push the pocket. He'll be a key piece of the Hurricanes' defensive front with championship expectations. At 42, another Alabama defender. This one, Devin Tompkins, the defensive lineman who is a USC transfer after posting 3 sacks and earning all Big Ten honorable mention in 2025. At 6'5" and nearly 300 pounds, he gives Alabama a massive experienced presence in the middle of its defensive front. At 43, Trevor Locke, the offensive tackle from Iowa. Locke started every game at left tackle for the offensive line that won the 2025 Joe Moore Award, as I mentioned. The 6'5", 314-pound junior is now one of the veteran anchors of Iowa's offense. At 44, another quarterback on the list, Jared Curtis from Vanderbilt. The highest-rated recruit in Vanderbilt history arrives with enormous expectations after flipping his commitment from Georgia. The 5-star Nashville native threw 36 touchdowns while leading his high school to a state championship as a senior. Yes, someone who has not played college football in the top 50 on our list. At 45, Mark Fletcher Jr., the running back from Miami. He rushed for almost 1,200 yards and 12 touchdowns in 2025, then elevated his game in the postseason. His 507 rushing yards during Miami's playoff run set a college football playoff record. At number 46, another running back, Isaac Brown from Louisville. Brown remained one of college football's most explosive backs in 2025, averaging almost 9 yards per carry, not a misprint, while battling through an injury-shortened season. Working his way back toward full strength entering 2026, his big play ability still makes him the centerpiece of Louisville's backfield. At 47, Ethan Wisłowski, the linebacker from Oklahoma State. Wisłowski followed Eric Morris from North Texas to Oklahoma State, bringing experience and production to a rebuilt Cowboys defense. The 234-pound senior should immediately provide a veteran presence in the middle. At 48, Mississippi State cornerback Kelly Jones, a 6'4" corner with legitimate speed. Jones has developed in one of the SEC's most intriguing cover corners. He earned all SEC recognition in 2025 and enters his junior season with a chance to become one of Mississippi State's next high-end NFL prospects. At 49, Prince Will Umanmielen, the LSU pass rusher. Umanmielen broke out for 9 sacks and 13 tackles for loss at Ole Miss in 2025 before following Lane Kiffin to LSU. Remember, his brother also played at Ole Miss and now plays in the NFL. The 6'4" edge rusher now gives the Tigers a proven SEC pass rushing threat.
Prince Will Umanmielen ranked 49th. Is it just because you couldn't figure out how to spell his name? I'm Matt Moscona from Locked on LSU. A lot of times projections are just guesses. With Umanmielen, there's skins on the wall. A season ago, he led Ole Miss in sacks and TFLs. Yeah, the team that played in the college football playoff semifinal. He's preseason first-team All-SEC by the league's coaches. And oh, by the way, he was the #1 edge rusher in the transfer portal. Elite player, veteran player with skins on the wall at a premium position. And he's 49th? Might want to rethink this list. For more, check out Locked on LSU, your team every day.
At 50, Brett Norfleet, the tight end from Missouri. The 6'6" Norfleet caught a career-high 5 touchdowns in 2025 while also playing a major role as a blocker for one of the nation's best rushing attacks. If he can stay healthy, his combination of size and versatility makes him one of Missouri's most important offensive pieces. At 51, Vernell Brown III, the receiver from Florida. Brown earned freshman All-SEC honors in 2025 and has already emerged as a leader of the Gators offense. The Florida legacy now enters year 2, looking to turn an impressive freshman season into a full-fledged breakout. At 52, another tight end on the list. It's Duke's Jeremiah Hasley. Hasley broke out with 40 catches for 454 yards and 6 touchdowns last season, earning honorable mention All-ACC honors. He was especially clutch late, catching 2 touchdowns in Duke's ACC championship game victory. At 53, Jaden Maiava, the quarterback from USC. Maiava threw for over 3,700 yards in 2025 while leading the nation with a 91.2 QBR. Back for another season in Lincoln Riley's offense, he's one of the most experienced quarterbacks in the Big Ten. And speaking of quarterbacks, Gunnar Stockton from Georgia checks in at 54. Stockton proved he can handle the job in his first full season running Georgia's offense, helping guide the Bulldogs back to the college football playoff. His toughness and dual threat ability makes him the centerpiece of another championship caliber roster. At 55, Iowa running back Kamari Moulton. Moulton led Iowa with 878 rushing yards despite missing 2 games in 2025, earning honorable mention all Big Ten honors. The veteran back returns as the proven engine of the Hawkeyes ground game. At 56, another quarterback, Damon Williams Jr. from Washington. His athleticism and creativity makes him one of the most dangerous dual-threat quarterbacks in the Big Ten. After another year of development, Washington will lean heavily on his ability to create both inside and outside the pocket.
Damon Williams Jr. is underrated coming into the 2026 season. I'm Roman Tomashoff with Locked On Huskies. And to be completely honest, I think number 56 for Damon Williams Jr. in the Locked On Top 100 is fair coming into the 2026 season. However, by the end of the year, we're going to be looking back on this and saying, whoa, we needed to put this guy a whole lot higher, because you look at it with that arm talent, with the athleticism that he provides, when he gets out of the pocket, when he scrambles, this is something where Washington is putting so much more on his shoulders this year without Jonah Coleman, without Denzel Boston. We're both off to the NFL. So this is something where Jed Fish, this coaching staff, they're looking at him saying, hey, we trust you to go out there and be a leader and be what he's been billed as since he got to Washington, one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. And I think we're going to be viewing him that way by the end of the 2026 season. For more, check out Locked On Huskies, your team every day.
Number 57, Sammy Brown, the linebacker from Clemson. Brown has quickly developed into the next star linebacker at Clemson, combining sideline-to-sideline speed with a physical downhill style. He's become the centerpiece of a Tigers defense looking to get back among the nation's best. At 58, Melkart Abu-Jaude from North Carolina. The pass rusher led the ACC with 10.5 sacks in 2025 and returns as the headliner of North Carolina's defensive front. His ability to consistently create pressure gives the Tar Heels a proven difference maker off the edge. And another difference maker on the edge. At 59, it's Yanze Pierre from Alabama. Pierre's combination of length, burst, and power has made him an increasingly disruptive piece of Alabama's pass rush. With a bigger opportunity in 2026, he has the tools to become one of the SEC's breakout defenders. At number 60, defensive lineman Taylor Wine from Oklahoma. He emerged as a disruptive piece of Oklahoma's defensive front, including a sack and forced fumble in the Sooners' win at Alabama. The 6'4", 265-pounder returns to give Oklahoma another experienced weapon up front. At 61, Tatum Tuioti from Oregon. Tuioti broke out with 16 TFLs and a team-high 9.5 sacks in 2025, earning third-team All-Big Ten honors. He returns as one of the veteran playmakers on a loaded Oregon defense. Oregon tight end Jamari Johnson is 62 on our list. He caught 32 passes for 510 yards in his first season with Oregon, with 2 of his 3 touchdowns coming in the college football playoff. With Kenyon Sadiq gone, Johnson gets his chance to become the Ducks' featured tight end. At 63, another tight end on the list, Terrence Carter Jr. from Texas Tech. Carter earned second-team All-Big 12 honors in 2025 and returns as the conference's leading tight end in receiving yards from last season. His versatility makes him another important weapon for Texas Tech. At 64, K.P. Price, the safety from Boston College. Price brings experience and versatility to the back end of Boston College defense. His ability to play downhill and cover gives the Eagles a versatile presence in the secondary. Indiana receiver Charlie Becker lands at 65. Becker emerged as a key weapon during Indiana's national championship season and now steps into an even larger role. His size and ability to win downfield make him one of the Hoosiers' most intriguing returning playmakers. At 66, LSU quarterback Sam Leavitt. Leavitt takes over at LSU after 2 seasons at Arizona State, pairing his dual threat ability with Lane Kiffin's offense. Now healthy after a troublesome foot injury, he'll have a chance to make a major splash in Baton Rouge. At 67, Texas A&M receiver Mario Craver. Craver flashed serious big play ability in 2025, highlighted by a career-high 207 receiving yards with an 86-yard touchdown at Notre Dame. He's back as one of Marcel Reed's most dangerous weapons. At 68, linebacker from Texas Tech, Ben Roberts. Roberts enters 2026 as FBS's active leader with 7 career forced fumbles and was named a Texas Tech captain before the season. The reigning Big 12 championship game most outstanding player remains the heartbeat of the Red Raiders D. At 69, a nice spot to be, Deuce Robinson, the receiver from Florida State. The 6'6" Robinson topped 1,000 receiving yards in 2025 and produced 5 120-plus yard games, the most of any Power 4 receiver. He passed on the NFL draft to return for one more year at Florida State.
Florida State wide receiver Deuce Robinson has been ranked far too low at number 69 by the Locked On Podcast Network in their top 100. 19.3 yards per catch, 6 touchdowns for an offense that, quite honestly, wasn't good at throwing the football last year. With Norvell calling plays again, the one thing that he truly does well, and Robinson diversifying his game, lining up at every single receiver position, finding new ways to get him the football, he will be one of the most dynamic players in the college game. And above all else, he is also a leader. Everything that he does is transcended throughout the team. Everybody looks up to Deuce, and that's the kind of value you can't place a number on. Deuce Robinson is too low at number 69.
Baseball fans, if you think you know who's hitting a homer today, FanDuel is giving you a free chance to call your shot with Daily Dingers. It's easy to play. Just make your free pick for who you think will hit a home run in their game. If you're right, you'll receive a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the Major League Baseball season. Daily Dingers is another fun way to stay engaged with every day's games, whether you're following your favorite team or keeping an eye on matchups across the league. Every game has someone capable of going deep. Now you get the chance to make your prediction before first pitch. There are certain players where every at-bat feels like something big could happen. That's what makes Daily Dingers fun. You get to back the player you think is ready to go deep that day. So are you ready to play your game today? Join all the action at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play Daily Dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of Major League Baseball. At 70, Raylan Wilson, the linebacker from Georgia. He became a full-time starter in 2025 and responded with 74 tackles and 6.5 tackles for loss. His speed and experience make him a centerpiece of another talented Georgia defense. We're almost 3/4 of the way done here. 71, it's Drew Mestemaker, the quarterback from Oklahoma State. He led the entire FBS with almost 4,400 passing yards at North Texas and won the Bulls World Trophy as the nation's top former walk-on. He now follows Eric Morris to Oklahoma State, looking to spark a Cowboys turnaround.
Well, I guess I really may have gone to a school for kids who can't read good, because the only justification I can think of to see number 71 next to Drew Mestemaker's name is if we collectively and accidentally flipped around his jersey number 17, right? That would make some sense. But no, it does say number 71. I'm Cody Stovall from Locked On Oklahoma State. This should be an egregious penalty in 193 of 195 countries. Nobody's thinking that there's not going to be a big jump from the G6 to the Big 12. But we're all also very well aware that this is year 3 into the Eric Morris system, the same Eric Morris that unearthed, developed, and offered guys like Baker Mayfield, Cam Ward, and John Mateer before revitalizing the career of Chandler Morris and upgrading Drew Mestemaker. He is your prototypical NFL size. He led the country in passing yards last year, number 2 in the country in touchdowns behind the Heisman and national champion winner in Fernando Mendoza. Is he going to be the next Mendoza? Maybe not. But if there's anybody that can be, it is Drew Mestemaker.
At 72, cornerback Bryce Pollock from Texas Tech. He started all 14 games for Tech in their Big 12 championship team. He returns for one more season in Lubbock. The veteran corner gives the Red Raiders experience and consistency on the outside. At 73, quarterback Lenoris Sellers from South Carolina. Sellers remains one of the most physically gifted quarterbacks in college football, with the size and athleticism to stress defenses as a passer and a runner. After an uneven 2025, a bounce-back season could quickly remind everyone why his ceiling was so high. At 74, Jamel Johnson, the safety from TCU. He was everywhere in 2025, piling up 96 tackles and a team-high 5 interceptions. The preseason All-Big 12 selection returns as one of the most productive safeties in the conference. At 75, 3/4 of the way through, another Texas Tech defensive player, this Austin Romaine. Romaine arrives from Kansas State as a 3-time All-Big 12 selection with 26 career starts. His experience and physicality adds another proven piece to an already loaded Tech defense. At 76, Jordan Marshall, the running back from Michigan. Marshall has continued to grow into the next featured back in Michigan's long line of productive runners. His combination of burst, balance, and power gives the Wolverines another dangerous weapon out of the backfield. At 77, SMU quarterback Kevin Jennings. He enters his final season with 19 career wins as a starter and has already taken SMU to both the ACC championship game and the college football playoff. Now he's even got his own King of Dallas Heisman campaign. But the I is the 7. It's be better as a visual medium. At 78, Wayshawn Parker, the running back from Utah. Parker rushed for 981 yards and 6 touchdowns on 149 carries in 2025. He averaged 6.5 yards per attempt and earned third team all Big 12 honors. The explosive junior returns to lead the Utah offense that will once again lean heavily on its run game. At 79, Yapani Lololu, the center from Oregon. Lololu returned for another season after anchoring the middle of one of college football's best offensive lines. His experience, strength, and command up front make him a key piece of Oregon's championship aspirations. At 80, John Mateer, the quarterback from Oklahoma. You might have thought some of these quarterbacks landing in this range would have been a little bit higher. Mateer battled through injury in 2025, but still accounted for 22 touchdowns while helping Oklahoma reach the college football playoff. Back for his senior season, his dual threat ability gives the Sooners another playmaker behind center. At 81, yes, another quarterback, this one with some monstrous shoes to fill. Josh Hoover at Indiana. He arrives from TCU with more than 9,600 career passing yards and 71 touchdowns across 3 seasons as a starter. He now gets the unenviable task of replacing Heisman winner Fernando Mendoza for the defending national champions.
Josh Hoover was ranked 81st in Locked On's top 100 college football players for the upcoming season, and I think that's extremely too low. I'm Jacob Goins, the host of the Locked On Hoosiers podcast, and I understand that people are worried and concerned with Josh Hoover's turnover problems that he had at TCU. But we've seen what Curt Cignetti and Mike Shanahan have done with previous quarterbacks in Bloomington, and I think this year will be no different. I think he'll end up being a top 30 player in the country, possibly in New York for a Heisman ceremony, and of course we'll have the Hoosiers in contention to win a national championship again. For more on Josh Hoover and Indiana football, be sure you check out Locked On Hoosiers, your team every day.
At number 82, Jackson Binney, the safety from Utah. He broke out with 64 tackles and 4 interceptions in 2025, earning all Big 12 honorable mention. The versatile safety even started 3 games on offense for the Utes last season. At 83, Michigan running back, yes, another one of them, Justice Haynes. He flashed star potential early in 2025 before injuries derailed his season. When healthy, his combination of vision, burst, and power makes him one of the most dangerous backs in the Big Ten. At 84, Lance Hurd, the monstrous offensive tackle from Kentucky at 6'6", 325 pounds. He arrives from Tennessee, having allowed just 3 sacks across nearly 1,800 career snaps. His massive frame and physical style gives Kentucky an instant building block for its offensive line. At 85, Notre Dame safety Tay Johnson checks in. Johnson's athleticism and range have made him an increasingly important piece for Notre Dame's secondary. With a larger role awaiting in 2026, he has a chance to become one of the next stars on defense that consistently develops NFL talent. Checking in at number 86, another experienced, dependable defensive back, Isaac Smith from Mississippi State. Smith brings experience and physicality to the back end of Mississippi State's defense with the versatility to contribute against both the run and the pass. He'll be counted on as one of the veteran leaders of the Bulldogs secondary. Tony Rojas, the linebacker from Penn State, is your 87th player. Rojas was limited to 4 games by a season-ending injury in 2025, but his speed and playmaking ability remain undeniable. Back healthy for 2026, he gets another chance to become one of the difference makers for Penn State's defense. At number 88, Ernest Green, the offensive tackle from Georgia. Green brings extensive SEC experience to Georgia's offensive line and has already protected quarterbacks on some of college football's biggest stages. His size, power, and experience make him a key piece of another Bulldogs championship push. At number 89, Falatau Satuala, the safety from BYU. Satuala has emerged as one of the pieces in BYU secondary with the size and physicality to play around the line of scrimmage. He can also make plays on the football. He enters 2026 with an opportunity to take another major step in the Cougars' defense. At 90, Tanuk Hines, the receiver from USC. Hines caught 34 passes for 561 yards as a true freshman while averaging 16.5 yards per reception. With Mekhi Lemon off to the NFL, the explosive sophomore now has an opportunity to become USC's next featured receiver. At number 91, not many picks left. Not many players can make the list here. 91 is Arion Carter, the linebacker from Tennessee. Carter has developed into the leader of the Tennessee defense after another productive season in the middle. The 238-pound senior brings speed, experience, and a physical presence back to the Volunteers in 2026. Elijah Davis, the cornerback from Utah, is our 92nd player on the list. Davis started 11 games in 2025, recording 34 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 2 PBUs. Both interceptions, though, returned for touchdowns, and the fifth-year senior returns as a cornerstone of Utah's secondary. At 93, Arkansas defensive lineman Quincy Rhodes Jr. Rhodes exploded for 15.5 TFLs and 8 sacks in 2025, earning second-team All-SEC honors. At 6'6", 273, he's become one of the most disruptive defenders on Arkansas's roster. At 94, a name that might seem a little disappointing given his career trajectory, Ryan Coleman-Williams, the receiver from Alabama. Coleman-Williams caught 49 passes for 689 yards in an uneven 2025 season after entering the year with enormous expectations. Still, just a junior, the former 5-star has another chance to turn his rare explosiveness into a true breakout season. At 95, Jaleel Johnson, the Oklahoma State edge, returns after playing only 4 games in 2025 when he totaled 16 tackles, 2.5 TFLs, and 4 quarterback hurries. At 6'4", 270 pounds, Oklahoma State needs his physicality, versatility, and explosive play. At 96, a name you know, Bo Jackson, the running back from Ohio State. No, not that Bo Jackson. Jackson flashed his enormous upside as a freshman and now has an opportunity to become the next featured back in Ohio State's loaded offense. His combination of burst and power make him a potential superstar in 2026. If there's one name on this list that is going to end up looking silly by season's end, this guy could be the one. Ole Miss linebacker Santarin Perkins is our 97th player on the list. He returns for his senior season. He's one of the most pedigreed playmakers on the Ole Miss defense. His versatility allows him to rush the passer, chase plays sideline to sideline, and create problems from multiple alignments. At 98, Shadre Hurst, the offensive lineman from Houston. Hurst arrives from Tulane after grading as Pro Football Focus's 6th best guard in the country in 2025. The 2-time first-team All-AAC selection immediately gives Houston one of the Big 12's most accomplished interior linemen. At number 99, Noah Fafita, the quarterback from Arizona. Fafita threw a school record 29 touchdowns in 2025 and enters 2026 as the nation's active leader with 73 career touchdown passes. The 4-year starter is already Arizona's all-time leader in the category.
Noah Fafita is criminally underrated, barely squeaking into the top 100, and he's the best quarterback in a big-time conference. I'm Leif Tulane of Locked On Wildcats, and Noah Fafita being ranked 99th is silly, but gets sillier when you see the quarterbacks within the same conference in which Fafita was named the quarterback of the year and picked as the first-team preseason quarterback, and he's not the top quarterback in the conference. Makes it a little crazy to me. For reference, he has over 70 touchdowns in his career already with the season to go, and he's unreal chemistry with offensive coordinator Seth Dagey. Receivers are back in business, and he should rewrite the record books. He led a team to 9-4 last season, closing with 6 straight Big 12 wins, and he's shockingly low, picked behind quarterbacks with inferior stats on inferior teams within the same conference. Oh well, Fafita will ball out in Tucson, and I can't wait to watch him do so. For more, check out Locked On Wildcats, your team every day.
And last but certainly not least, because if you're in the top 100, you are a heck of a football player, Caleb Hawkins, the running back from Oklahoma State, another player who came with Eric Morris from North Texas. He had a sensational freshman season in which he scored 29 touchdowns. He now reunites with quarterback Drew Mestemaker as part of the Cowboys' offensive rebuild. There it is, the Locked On College Football Top 100 for 2026. 100 players, plenty of debate, and almost certainly a few rankings that will look completely ridiculous by November. Think we got your team star too low? Someone else way too high? Go find your favorite local Locked On College Football show and let us hear about it in the comments, or better yet, find a rival fan base and politely explain why their best player is wildly overrated. For more rankings, previews, and coverage all season long, subscribe to Locked On Sports today and your favorite local Locked On show, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.